And that leads to the last question I'll direct to the Archbishop, if I might. Some participants in our deanery gatherings have voiced the opinion that they will leave the Anglican Church of Canada if the vote does not go the way they wish. What would you respond to them? Do you think it's going to be possible for us as a church to walk together after General Synod?
Well, that is the challenge, isn't it? And for me, I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear that from whatever perspective people hold on this matter, and whatever the decision of General Synod is going to put them in a place where they feel they have no choice but to leave. That's actually very heartbreaking. So I would hear that with deep regret. And I think our response in those situations is, and I think it's really important, and that is, here's where a really strong ministry of presence and encouragement is vital. That we encourage people not to consider that they have no choice but to leave. We need to express in those situations our concern for them if they leave. Where to? Who looks after them pastorally? And maybe to invite them into some conversation about everything they're leaving if they leave over this one issue. What is it that they would be leaving behind? How would their life as a disciple be bereft? Because they wouldn't no longer have the support, the pastoral support and sacramental care of the Anglican Church of Canada. And then I think there's an opportunity for us to engage one another in a conversation about, so what is the nature of communion? What is the nature of communion? And surely it's not that we are all of exactly the same mind on every single issue. What is the nature of doctrine? And how do we say, well, this is core doctrine, as some of our reports have said. This is core doctrine. It's absolutely creedal. It's our salvation depends on it. And what is doctrine that is of a different kind of nature? So I would want to, make sure that we're creating some opportunity to not just to watch people leave, as it were, but to say, could we have some more conversation? Can we engage this a little bit more? If people choose to leave, then I think we have a responsibility to honor their decision. But as someone said in a conversation I was involved in around this one time, the last word must always be, please remember that we are saddened by your decision. Please remember that backlight is always on, that door is always open, and the welcome mat lies there. We would be more than happy to see you come home.
Thank you. And thank you, Archbishop Fred and Bishop Linda, for answering some of the questions that our synod has raised. And thank you for your own prayerful leadership on this issue.
For the remainder of the time, it's your opportunity to do some reflecting. At the very back of your package, there's a white handout, and feel free to rip it out of your package because we're going to ask you to hand it in. The first reflection is an individual one. From your reading of the report, from the presentation of highlights and from the responses that you've heard to some of the concerns raised across our diocese, please take a couple of minutes to jot down your reflections on what you've heard so far.